opted not to have a TV in my house, and instead I just have a projector. I have things from Ecuador, Cambodia, Malaysia. The lifestyle that I live in my tiny home just allows me to travel more and really pursue these passions that I have. Hi, my name's Amanda, and this is my 26-foot tiny home. This is my little living room. And over here I have this coffee table, which also has a lot of storage in it, which is nice, and it doubles as my dinner table. So I keep a bunch of random stuff in here, but then I also sit and eat all my meals here. My couch is an IKEA couch that I got off of OfferUp used, but it's perfect because of two things. One is the storage space that it has under here where I keep extra blankets, sheets, things like that. And then it also pulls out into a full futon bed. So whenever I have guests over, I make this into a cute little bed. Back here we have a little pocket that I keep just for like decor, books, all my little knickknacks. And then I have my projector up here. I opted not to have a TV in my house, and instead I just have a projector. I set up a little screen and I'm set whenever I want to watch a movie or a TV show. So over here I have my ladder. My aunt and uncle actually made it for me. They own a metal fabrication business here in Washington State. So how it is right now is just how I store it to kind of keep it out of the way, but then to actually use it and climb up, I move it down like this. I mean, it's also the same ladder for the other loft, so I just move it back and forth whenever I need to get up on a different side. This is one of my two lofts. This is the smaller one, and I use it kind of as my hobby slash gear loft. My main hobbies is climbing, hiking, backpacking, anything outdoors, as well as art and reading. So this loft, I have everything in that sense. I have all of my backpacking food, backpacking gear, bear boxes, and then over here I store all my backpacks, and I have storage in here as well. And then I incorporate plants everywhere in my house just because green is my favorite color and it's nice to have something alive and pretty all around. So you'll notice that in my decor. And on the other side, I have my main loft, which is the bigger bedroom loft. This is just like my bed and my clothes storage for the most part. And then here I have like these dividers that give it a little bit more privacy, but then I can also use for decorations. Mostly what I use it for is just things I've collected from my travels. So I have things from Ecuador, Cambodia, Malaysia, Indonesia, so things from a little bit of the places that I've traveled to, mementos, and then my plants as well to keep it looking alive. Up here I have a full-size bed, and then right above my bed I do have a skylight. I have this for multiple reasons, one of them being when I wake up in the morning I don't hit my head, I can sit up, whereas if I sit up anywhere else I would hit my head. And then also I can stargaze at night, and then I can also get out onto the roof. And if I come up through the skylight, then I am on my roof and I can just come and read a book up here, chill up here, watch the sunset. It's super nice. It's still the corrugated metal on the roof as well, so it's a little bumpy, but I can bring a lawn chair up here and it's comfy. And on the other side of my bed, I have my closet. So I just have a regular dresser system, and then I hung up these here, along with this and some other bins that I have in my divider storage. I keep all of my clothes. So I wanted to talk about what made me want to build a tiny home, and that is multiple reasons. One of them being affordability. In the market here in the Seattle area, it's really expensive to buy a house. So this was a more affordable option to be able to own a house. And at the same time, minimalism is a cool lifestyle that I wanted to start living more like. So with minimalism and affordability, it just made sense for me. The build process for my tiny house, it took about 2 years. It was mainly my dad and I doing all all of the labor on the house. It was weekends, after work, in between jobs. I worked multiple jobs to save up to be able to afford to build this house. So I am very lucky that I have a lot of family members and friends that all know some sort of construction or finish work. And so I got a lot of help from friends and family, and I know I'm very lucky to have people in my life that know how to do that and were willing to help me. So it made the process a lot easier. I also hired out for two things, which is spray foam and plumbing, but other than that, we built it from the ground up. Breaking down the costs of my tiny home, it started with $5,000 up front for the trailer, and then altogether with the only labor I paid for was plumbing and spray insulation, and then so all material and fully furnished, it was around $35,000 to $40,000. I kind of stopped keeping track after a while when I went above my initial, what I thought the cost was gonna be, but overall, probably around the $40,000 range. And so I probably started with about $20,000 saved, and then the rest of the time I just worked, and paycheck by paycheck, I would buy more materials for the house, or I'd buy the siding, and then I'd get my next paycheck and I would buy my fridge or something like that. So it was just a lot of saving and living a really thrifty lifestyle. I didn't really spend money on that much things besides the bare essentials like food and gas. I was also lucky enough to be able to have lived with my mom during all this time, so I did not have to pay rent, which was also something I acknowledge that not everyone has the opportunity to not have to pay rent while saving up for something. So I got lucky with that one. So taking away rent costs, I had that money to put into the tiny house as well. And this is my kitchen. I went with butcher block countertops, mostly just because I like the style. I know they're a little bit heavier, so some people don't like to do them in tiny houses, but I wasn't really worried about weight too much in my house, so I went for it anyways. And then for my sink, I definitely went for a bigger sink just because I knew I would be hand washing all my dishes, so I wanted a lot of room for that. These are all my kitchen cabinets. I got them from a warehouse, and so they were already sized, and then you just picked and choose which sizes that you want to create the kitchen that you liked, so they were a little bit cheaper, which is nice. I went with exposed shelving up here, again, just for aesthetics and look. I like how it looks, and I like to display little things up here, like all my tea containers and some ingredients for cooking. And down here in the end, we have my big pantry cabinets, which was a must for me. And then they have pull-out drawers, so it's easy to get back into all of the ingredients in the back of these. And all around my house, I do have these blackout blinds. I just installed those recently because I do have a projector as my main TV, and you can't really watch stuff in the daytime if there's light coming in. So I have blinds, also for privacy, obviously, because I do have neighbors here as well. Over here we have my stovetop and oven. They're both propane powered. I have two 10-gallon propane tanks that I just refill whenever they run out. And then I have a 3-burner stovetop and then a little oven, just big enough for anything I might need. But most of the time, I honestly just use my air fryer for cooking things because it is just me and I don't need anything big. I also have a microwave down below. Again, I don't use the microwave that much. It's mostly the air fryer these days. And over here we have my refrigerator. It's 9.2 cubic feet, which is plenty of room for just me. The top is the fridge section, and then down below I do have the freezer. I have a lot of cabinet space on this side as well. I am only one person, so I don't need a ton of plates or anything, but I have this whole area here, a lot of my spices in this drawer, and then utensils in this drawer. And this is my bathroom. I dedicated quite a bit of space to this area. One of the ways that I do that is with my washer and dryer, because it is just a regular full-size washer and dryer, which is nice. I didn't want to have to deal with the 2-in-1 and issues that people have with that, and then also didn't want to have to deal with the laundromat, and it fit perfectly. The sink, I went with like the barn door style one. I actually got this super discounted because it was a display at Lowe's, and it's kind of scratched scratched up. I'm gonna fix those eventually, but I got it for pretty cheap because of that reason. And then I did do a little pocket in the side of the wall here where I keep a lot of like my toiletries. Over here we have my corner shower, which is also a pretty decent size. My brother and I actually tiled it together and he taught me how to do all of that, which was quite a process, but pretty fun overall. I went with a little slider door, and I have some niches in there for some extra space instead of shelving, and it works perfectly for me. Over here we have my toilet, and since I always expect to be on a property that does have a sewer hookup, it's just a regular toilet that you would see in any house. And then on the side here is where I have my electrical panel as well. I've been living in my tiny house for about 6 months now, and I plan to continue living here on the property that I rent until I can afford to buy property. And then once I get that property, I'll move my tiny house onto it and hopefully build another house. At that point, I'll either rent out the house and live in the tiny house, or rent out the tiny house and live in the house, depending on where I'm at in my life. But either way, I plan to keep the house for a while, living in it myself or renting it out. I wouldn't say there's anything particularly hard about living in the tiny house. There's definitely things that I get lazy with, like sometimes if I want something from one of the lofts but the ladder isn't already going up to that loft, I'll just kind of like be like, I don't really need it that bad, instead of just moving the ladder and going up there. But other than that, everything's been good. I wouldn't say there's anything too difficult about the tiny home living. I have more than enough space. Everything's good. Advice I would give to someone that is looking into building a tiny home or living in a tiny home is just fully researching everything first, like finding out what the lifestyle is like and how much it's all going to cost, and making sure you have a savings to back you up, because everything always ends up costing a little bit more than you think it does. And then secondly, just having a strong support system, especially if you're going to have people help you on different parts of the home. It's important to have friends and family that you know will have your back and be there for you and help you through the process. This is my little tiny deck for my tiny home. I built it probably around 3 months after I moved in. I got tired of going up little cinder block stairs into my house, so we built this, and it's not actually attached to the house at all, and it comes into pieces, so I'm able to move it if I ever do move my house. It's perfect because every morning I can come out here and eat my breakfast and hang out, and it gives me a comfortable way to be outside of my house and hang out. For the siding of my house, I went with the black corrugated metal and the cedar. I thought the color just contrasted really well. I knew that doing black for the corrugated metal for heat reasons probably wasn't the best idea, but style overdid logic in this sense, and my house is spray insulated, so it does have a lot of insulation, so I don't think the black exterior attracts too much heat that goes into the house. I have 10 different windows in my house, and I have that many just because it really opens up the space and makes it seem a little bit bigger, especially when you're on the inside. And then also the natural light is just really nice to wake up to in the morning. And back here we have some of the utilities I use. I have a propane hot water heater. I use that because my stove is propane as well, so I thought it would make sense just to use both of those for propane, and it works amazing because my shower is like right on the other side of this, so it actually heats up really fast, which is nice. All my power, sewer, water, everything comes from the property that my house is parked on, and so I have hookups kind of like an RV would for all of those. And this is where my shore power plugs in, and I have a few different outlets around the house as well for power. And on this side of my house, I have my tiny garden. I have cucumbers, zucchinis, strawberries, just a few things. I do travel a lot, so I tried to keep the garden kind of small this year, just enough that I can keep up with it. And then I also have a couple raspberry and blueberry plants. A way that living in a tiny home has affected my lifestyle is because I do have a way cheaper rent and not that many like overhanging costs. I am able to travel more and be a freelancer, and I just have a little bit more extra money because I'm not spending all of that on rent. What I do for work is I'm a full-time freelancer, so that means I do content creation, social media marketing, I'm a hiking guide, I do a little bit of everything, and the lifestyle that I live in my tiny home just allows me to travel more and really pursue these passions that I have. Throughout the 2 years of building my house, I've had a lot of good memories with my friends and family, and especially my dad, just spending so much time together working on the house. Probably halfway throughout the build process, I somehow convinced him to start making TikTok videos with me. So that was just a lot of fun to see him being goofy and making funny videos with me. I also am very excited to have my own place because I get to host, and I've never been able to host things before. So I have like barbecues planned for the summer and game nights, and we're gonna like watch movies on the projector outside on the side of my house. So I have a lot of fun plans for being able to finally host all my friends and family at my place. My name is Amanda, and thank you for watching my tiny home tour. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to follow along my tiny home journey, you can follow me on TikTok, Instagram, or my blog, and the links for that will be below in the bio.